Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be reviewing The Baby Is Mine by Oyinkan Braithwaite, and reviewing this book is kind of weird due to two things. Firstly, it is the first book I read this year that is set during a lockdown in the 2020-2021 pandemic, so due to us being in a lockdown again, the whole story and setting did hit a bit closer to home than what I would have liked. And the second, more funny, weird reason is that I read The Baby Is Mine in the German translation, Das Baby ist meins, and for some reason this German translation was already released now in January, whilst the English original is only going to be released sometime in May. And usually translations are released a lot later, especially when it comes to small authors. And it's kind of weird because I don't know what the publishing industry was thinking when they released a translation first. So if you work in this industry or have any idea what would motivate a publishing house to do it this way, please tell me down in the comments below. But enough of me talking about weird fun facts and not about the book. So The Baby Is Mine is set 3 to 4 months into a lockdown in Lagos, Nigeria, and our main character Bambi gets kicked out of his flat by his girlfriend Mida after she finds out that he's been cheating on her. And he's out on the streets even though he's not supposed to be there due to lockdown, so he quickly has to find somewhere to live with there not being that many different options open to him. So he decides to go to his uncle's house because his uncle died of COVID just a couple of weeks ago and he expects his house to be empty. But when he reaches his uncle's house, he discovers that his auntie Bidemi is living there together with another woman and a little baby boy, and both women are claiming that this baby is theirs. So we are in this house that no one is allowed to leave. Tensions are high and Bambi doesn't know which woman is telling the truth and which one is lying. First off, I want to say that the atmosphere in The Baby Is Mine is absolutely on point. We have these 4 characters that are locked in this house with no contact to the outside world except via telephone and the internet, and these people have already been locked up for a couple of months. So I think we all reached this point last summer when our flats or houses just felt a little smaller than usual, darker, messier, and just oppressive in general, and we have exactly the same atmosphere in this story. On top of that, we still have the Nigerian heat making it difficult to breathe, with the house losing electricity again and again, meaning that there's no ventilation, so tensions are just growing and it's bound to explode at any point. And this atmosphere, it just felt so real and dark that it almost had a horror story kind of vibe, and I at some point thought I wouldn't be surprised if there was some supernatural element going on, just because there was so much static in the air and the characters slowly seeming to go mad or just having reached their breaking point. Sadly, there is a big but before I get to that, I just want to mention that The Baby Is Mine is a very short novella. The German translation had 120 pages, and usually I read on average 60 to 70 pages an hour, but in this case I actually managed to read the whole 120 pages in 45 minutes, so it is a very compact story, which is also why there isn't a lot of room or space to develop everything the way it could have. I absolutely loved the atmosphere, and I think the plot premise and the resolution at the end are absolutely amazing, so going by that, this should have been a great read. But in practice, what really suffered was the character development or the lack thereof. So the cast is very small. You know, you have a couple of side characters that Bambi is talking to via the telephone, but in general it's just these 2 women and Bambi, and we get enough information about all of them to understand what is going on and to have this underlying tension and just this conflict, but we don't really get enough character depth to connect to the people or to just get a deeper understanding of their emotions and their motivations and just what kind of people they are, and that made it very, very difficult to connect to them and to connect to what they were doing and understanding their behavior. And this plot could have been amazing. As I said, two women both saying that a baby is theirs, and then a third person coming in and having to see who's telling the truth. It could have been such a gripping emotional roller coaster of a book, but it just wasn't, because I couldn't connect to the characters. So it was just a superficial story I had so high expectations for, and I was very, very disappointed just by the execution. So as a novella, The Baby Is Mine didn't really work out for me, and this lack of character depth or character development was already something I disliked or criticized in Oyinkan Braithwaite's first book, My Sister with Serial Killer, where I also really liked the premise and the plot and the story, but thought that the characters were lacking, and it was also the reason why I had to bump that book down to, I think, 3 stars, just because I need more characters, I need this emotional connection, and then it would have been this absolute amazing story in both cases. Which is why I, for the future, will not be picking up any of Oyinkan Braithwaite's further novellas, just because I know that they'll be missing something I really need and what I really want from this type of story. But should she publish a novel with 300 to 500 pages, I'll be absolutely there for it. I would really like it if she republished The Baby Is Mine as a novel, because, as I said, the story was actually so good and the atmosphere was on point, and if it had all been a lot more fleshed out, I think this would have been a story to get lost in. I want to thank you so much for watching this review. I would really appreciate it if you liked this video and subscribe to my channel. I put out new content every single Tuesday, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Bye.